in the discussion in the Obama Foundation people, here comes Michelle Obama. And we were 15 girls from Nigeria. Other people were from Nigeria and across like West and Eastern Africa. And we had to share about and speak about our story. And when Michelle got to the room, she already knew my story. So she was like, "You are Monique." There was another person called Monique. And she said, "Who is Ellie?" And then she came and sit next to me. And she touched my hand all the time. It was amazing. I kept saying, yesterday was one of the most important days of my life. Like, I really felt, I don't know how to say it, but I was very happy. It was an exciting moment. That woman really rocks. She is such a mother. She is very natural. She is amazing. Yeah, it was a good time.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for sharing that with us. You know, one thing that I tell people when especially I do a lot of workshops and things, is that what we see in other people is also in us. And so, as amazing as Michelle Obama is, you know, she's there looking for Ellie. You know, and wondering, you know, like what you're all about. And so that's what we're going to share today. You know, on International Day of the Girl, we are celebrating the power of sisterhood and all of the positive aspects of empowering and educating girls. But we can't do this without talking about the barriers that girls still face to get an education. Because for those of you who don't know, there are still 63 million girls that are not currently in secondary school worldwide. So I want to talk to you, Ellie. What is your community like? And how are the girls viewed, and how are girls viewed in terms of getting an education?
Yeah, so I am the last born of 9 in my family, and I grew up, I was raised by a single mom. I lost my dad when my mom was pregnant of me. So I grew up in a community, and especially the very hardest part was I grew up in a family where my brothers and sisters and everyone in my family never really believed in sending a girl to school. So what it is like for my community is that, like the poet has been saying here, girls are meant for specific things that I don't know whose idea was that girls should be mothers, girls should be people that stays home and take care and fetch water, take care of the animals, and you know, like those kind of things. So I grew up in a family where they never really believed in education for a girl, and that has been my biggest struggle, fighting through to be where I am today.
And how did you overcome that? I mean, that is a huge obstacle, being the youngest of 9. How did you overcome that obstacle? What happened to make that happen?
Yeah, so for me, I would say, so the big obstacle were the status quo. My community never really, at any point, believed, especially my brothers. My brothers would say, we cannot send a wife of another man to school. Literally, they believed that I was to be sent off and be married. They believed that even if they invested in me and sent me to school, it will be a waste of an investment. It won't make any sense for me to go to school. So that was the first obstacle that I had to overcome. But the second obstacle was the finances. So I had to sneak to go to school because I wouldn't be allowed. So I will go to school as a thief, just escaping home. I would escape home to go to school and come back home. My brothers would take me to a room and whip me so that I don't go to school tomorrow. And I will wait until they forget that I will ever escape to go to school again, only to escape again. So that was kind of the life I lived going to school. And also, my headmaster also questioned. He wanted to know, like, why are you still here? Why are you coming? Why do you keep coming? I went to school. My headmaster will send me back home because I didn't have the fees. So that was the second obstacle. I couldn't pay for my education. And I'm very happy today here to have Jory and his wife. They have been there to witness my journey when I was growing up. they were the one that supported and questioned the system, that Ellie really deserved a chance to go to school, and they paid for my journey to go to school. So they travel all the way, and thank you so much. I just have to say this in front of everybody else that I really appreciate, and I'm very humbled for you guys. Yeah. So when I'm growing up, meeting people, friends, like Jory is literally my brother. We don't share the race, but yeah. So yeah, it's been hard for me, but what I can say helped me overcome was that I was never wanting to listen to the reason to why my brothers would go to school and I wouldn't. So I kept escaping and escaping until when I met people like Jory, and she's the first in Africa, who questioned and wanted to keep me to stay in school. So my passion to go to school was the number one thing. But then when a girl needs to go to school, or if at all you have a dream, anything you want to do, you just need that one chance. You just need that one person that will trust and give you the opportunity to keep like that dream come true. Yeah.
It's interesting to hear you talk and to hear about your passion for education, because unfortunately here in the United States, I feel like in many instances it's kind of the opposite, where people are dreading going to school. They are complaining about it. Was that just something that was in you to have that passion for education? Where do you think that drive came from, that you would continuously over and over escape and make sure that it happened?
Yeah, so for me, I think my passion developed from my own family. Like, my sisters were all married. They were born first. One of my sisters has 9 children. My mom has 9 children. So you could imagine. My mom never had a chance to decide how many kids she wanted to have. She didn't have that right. My sisters grew up knowing that they should be wives. And they were wives. They are now wives. They don't like the life they're living. They don't love. One of my sisters literally doesn't love the husband that she is married to. So seeing that when I was growing up didn't make me happy. I didn't want another person to come and tell me who my husband was. I didn't want that life for myself. So having experienced the things that happened to my own family, the things that happened to my own sisters, and even looking around, seeing how my community and how women would be and grew up, and how women will be home taking care of kids, and they will never, and boys will have the opportunity to go and be carpenters, you know. They will be doing things they want to do even when they were not happy about it. At least they had a chance to make the decision to be that. And that really made me upset. I didn't want to go back to the same system, and I didn't want to see another person while I'm living, seeing that I have a chance at least to be able to stand and raise a voice for her going through the same situation.
Wow. You're a chain breaker in your family. That's what you are. And I have very different circumstances, but I relate to that entirely. You know, being that person that sees things differently and says, I don't want it to be the way that it's always been, and I'm going to do something about that. So that's really beautiful. You started a project called My Journey to School. Yes. Can you tell us a little bit about that, and how, where the conversation of teenage pregnancy kind of falls inside of that?
Okay. My journey to school was started by me, and I started it because of my own journey to school, and it kind of really relates to most girls in my community. They go through the same circumstances and even worse. So basically the aim of my journey to school as a fellow for She's the First, because they really had made it possible for me to be able to conduct and be able to do this project. The aim is to help girls in my community. So there's a policy in Tanzania that when a girl drops out of school, she can never, because of pregnancy, she can never ever return back to school again. So that marks it the end of the dream for that girl to go back to school completely. So having the president announce that, and as a policy being implemented, I really wanted to do something back to the school I went to. So I went back to my community, introduced the idea to the headmaster, and he was very supportive, not because she was happy only that I was the alumni, but because last year, five girls dropped out of school because of pregnancy. This year until May, 10 drop out because of pregnancy. And that ruins the reputation for the school. So I wanted to have a conversation about sexual reproductive health and rights so that the girls can make the decision and know about the information. It also extended to the parents because in Tanzania, specifically the community that I come from, they don't believe in making conversations about sex, about sexual reproductive health and rights. So that was an opportunity for me to hold and gather meetings with parents so that we can discuss and talk about why it is important to help the girls have the right information, and even for the parents to start talking about these things with their kids. And it was, the parents are both female and women, so they come together. It wasn't easy. In the beginning, it wasn't easy at all. I was questioned. I was like, this one parent was saying, so have you ever seen my child pregnant? And I was like, no, I haven't. And he was like, so do you think I can't raise my kids well? Are you questioning my parenting style? Who told you that you could talk to our kids about sex? So there were those conversations that were very hard for me to be able to this is a person who is the age of my mom, the age of my father, and he is asking me questions very seriously in front of every other parent, and every other parent is kind of nodding the head to agree with the parent. So it wasn't easy to start with. So, and having that going, and what helped me was using the school hand to kind of come, not me as a person, not me as a female, because they also believe that they can listen to elders more than they can listen to me. So broadening into having parents, the kids that have dropped out of school because of pregnancy, come and testify, and kind of make the parent also understand it didn't happen to your child, but who knows who will drop next day, who will be pregnant tomorrow. Is very important to have the skills than wait for it to happen. So you say, oh, I raised her well, but what happened? Yeah.
Whew. That was a hard conversation to have anywhere, but good on you, and how brave of you to continue and to pursue that. I want to switch a little bit and talk about sisterhood.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's the first is celebrating sisterhood tonight, and throughout the whole month of October with Power of Five Friends campaign. And it's proven that when a young woman has the social support, a social support network, she's less likely to face violence, get pregnant, drop out of school. So can you tell us a little bit about your work as a mentor?
Yeah, so apart from my personal project where I mentor 30 girls, I also work full-time for an organization that She's the First is supporting, and it's called Africate. I work there as a mentor. I work full-time as a mentor, and I mentor 120 girls. So I go to 5 different schools. Every week I work Monday to Saturday, and I meet these girls every week for 2 hours. And in going back to the question about how much women and girls around the world, they really need the social and network support. For my experience in Tanzania, probably here, parents are very closer to their kids. In Tanzania, it is different because parenting styles is very strict. You're gonna have to tell a child what they're supposed to do, and there's no discussion. So when a girl is growing up, they need that one person they can go to and ask questions. They need that one person that they know when they go and explain challenges and problems they have, they won't be judged. So that helps the girls reach out to one person that they can really trust, and it takes time to build the trust with my girls. And I talk to them about my story so that they can be free to tell me about their story so we can make a difference. So I feel like it is very important to have the social support system, and sisterhood, you know. Even for men, they call it brotherhood, yeah, you know. So we need that relationship. We need it because that's how we get to go. You gotta have to have that one person, Monique, that you tell, hey, today I didn't have a good day. Today that boyfriend, I didn't understand that statement. You know, you really need that. And
I feel like I read somewhere that you climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. Is that true?
I did.
Okay. I was like, did I really see that? Okay.
Yeah.
What? You did what? I ran. My goodness, hold on. So can you just tell me about that really quick? You climbed Mount Kilimanjaro.
I did.
What was that like? My gosh.
It was really hard.
She's like, I mentor 120 girls, do these amazing things, and oh yeah, you know, I climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. When was this, by the way?
Yeah, this was the end of February this year, and it was a fundraising campaign for AfriCaid, but also like it was a time for us to share stories while climbing the mountain. So this was a journey for 6 days to the top and 2 days coming back. To me, climbing Kili really reminded me about life. You know, like there are lessons that we get in life through the things that we do. Climbing Kili was really hard. You gotta have to hold your breath and tell yourself one step at a time. Because no matter what happens, you have to keep going unless you make the decision to go back down. And the guides won't let you.
Did we just go to church? The guides will not let you. Wow.
Yeah, they won't let you go down just because you want to go down. You have to give them a reason because they also are going up with you for a mission. Like there's an agreement that you made. So imagine, I think I want you guys to relate climbing Mount Kilimanjaro with all the circumstances that you face on the way and relate it to education. The challenges that most women around the world are facing around in between between the journey to school, just like climbing Kili. They will get tired. They will want water. They want to go to you don't bath going to the mountains for 8 days. Isn't that crazy? So there are so many challenges that I faced when I was climbing, but we had an encouragement team. We worked with a team. We were 12 of us. Everybody had to tell another person, we got this. We have 2 more days. We have 1 more day. And we made it. So when we get to the top together, it feels really good. And the girls in Back to Education, they are facing so many challenges that they are encountering, and they need that team. As we have spoken the previous question, they need that team. The circumstances and the challenges they face along the way in climbing Mount Kili, there's changing in altitude. Your body doesn't just agree to the weather anymore. It's freezing. It is cold. There were times we sat down and cried. And one person was like, why am I even doing this? Who is paying me? I'm giving all the money. You know, like there's time that you want to give up completely. You don't want to keep going and you don't want to keep doing it, yeah? But then you say, I started this. And then when you get to the top, there's so much joy. I wrote an article about this. I will encourage you guys to get it from She's the First and read it. It's an amazing one. I love it myself when I share with people. I'm like, did I really write this?
I love that feeling. We're like, okay. You were feeling yourself. Yes. Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that story. My gosh, I've prided myself on the fact that I've run 2 half marathons in my life, but I never have climbed a mountain, and I've never desired, actually, to climb a mountain until this moment because of the way that you described it. I remembered those last seconds when I was getting close to the finish line. Well, it's not seconds, where I was like, you know, a couple of miles away and thinking all of those thoughts like, why am I doing this? This is really stupid. And I remember the moment, and I had my headphones in, And all of a sudden, I started thinking about the girls all around the world. And I know that that seems like, Mo, you're just saying that, but it's actually true. And I thought about how much pain I was in, and the fact that I got to choose my pain, and that so many people in so many places don't get to choose the things that challenge them. You don't get to choose your pain. You don't get to choose your obstacles. And I ran probably those last few miles harder than I had before, because something overcomes you where you realize that we are connected. We are connected to one another, and we are connected by this deeper thread. And it's not just by the joys, but it's really through the challenges that we've overcome that open the door for other people to know that you can overcome too.
Yes, exactly. I'm very proud of you,
Oh.
Monique. Yeah.
I'm very, very proud of you too, Ellie. So you're visiting the United States at a very interesting and difficult time, to say the least. I think it would be safe to say that our government is broken in many ways. Women's voices are not heard, women's voices are not respected, and there's been events in the last weeks or so that have been really appalling, and shocking and disheartening. I understand that Tanzania also has challenges. Can you tell us a little bit about what some of the challenges are there?
Yeah. So I will start with. I speak a lot about the status quo because the belief of the people is way too critical to change in Tanzania. But then I'll give you an example, a real example of. So in the government, I don't know if here in the parliament you have special seats. So in Tanzania, we have something in the parliament that we call special seats. And these are the seats that a president or vice president just appoint people to say, so you will stand on the mineral sector, and you will, the appointed people. So we have special seats for women. We never have special seats for men. And what is that telling us, and what is that telling women in Tanzania, is that they are given opportunity for free because they cannot earn it. They will never be given a chance to go and contest to be president. When I went to university, I went to a Rome Catholic university, and then in the Rome Catholic University, they never believed that a woman can be a president for the university, not a nation, for the university. So when I got there, I was so upset that even in the institution that people are very educated, and I hope it will be different from my home village where I come from, things were still the same. Women were still disrespected. Women were still not given priorities. Women were still believed to be people who would just do certain things and not the other things. So I got to university, and during the campaign, so I said I would contest for presidential post, and then I said I will run for this. And then when I went to the administration, the teachers and lecturers started to tell me, Ellie, you're very brave, you are very influential, you can speak and make people vote, but you can never be a president. So if you want to win this election, you have to contest for a position of a vice president, so that a guy can be a president and you will be a vice president. And I said, I think I got a lot of these things. Like, this is not the first time I'm hearing things like that. And I didn't tell the lecturer that way, maybe I could be expelled. But then, but then I said I will run for president anyways.
Yes.
Yes.
That is exactly right. Now you can tell them that you're friends with Michelle Obama, too. I have one final question for you. How do you think we can tackle gender inequality and support girls in our communities and around the world?
I think we can start where we are and with what we have. I am a very believer of starting small, step by step. I tell Tammy all the time that is very powerful. So we can start here. we can start by looking what is around us and how can we be part of that change. If it's women in health, if it is women in raising voices, if it is a child girl who was being abused on the way when you were going to work, and you think that you can make a difference by stand to protect her while you had that 1 minute that you could delay to work and make an excuse for that, do that one thing. It always start, I believe that, as Michelle Obama have once said, women, she said, I will tell my children, I will tell my daughters, and I will tell every girl around the world, there is no limit of what a woman can become. And for me, I'm a very believer of that statement, and I really know that every single thing that you see in this world, it is good the way you see it, because at one point, women has been part of that change. Yes.
Ellie. Thank you. Oh, sure. Oh, wonderful. We can take one question from the audience. Does anyone have a question? Oh, perfect.
Such an honor to be here. Thank you both. I'm wondering, when you ran for president in college, what happened?
Okay, so I didn't win. Yeah, I didn't win, but guess what? You know, how many wants to know? So I was devastated. And then that's how, for those people who have been on the Mentors Breakfast, I said I will do another thing. I started a project. You probably have seen that in my previous video with She's the First. But I told every person, and every person started to talk about me, like, oh, that girl rocked, but you know what? She couldn't make it, yeah? But I created and I planted a seed. This year, there is a girl named Fides. She went in the same school that I went in high school. We have been in touch. We've been through Africa. She is the first female president in that university.
That's so cool! Oh, wow. That is amazing. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Ellie. Thank you all. This was incredible. I could talk to you literally all night, and I plan to stay friends with you. So we're
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's an honor.
Yeah.
It's an honor. I'm very inspired by you, and I'm very happy also to be here. I really am inspired by the passion you have, despite all you do, the way that you're giving back with your activism spirit. It is very beautiful, and we need people like Michelle, people like Monique, you know. I know you will say the same about me, but I want to brag for a minute about you.
It's so funny, I'm like crawling inside
Yes.
myself.
Yes, you're
Thank
amazing,
you.
and thank you for all that you're doing for She's the First.
Thank you.
Yeah.